Taipei teacher under fire for China remarks. Public outrage over Huang Tzu-Chiao's scandal. Taiwanese influencers discuss identity abroad. Russia and Ukraine agree to naval ceasefire in the Black Sea. A court orders the dissolution of the Unification Church in Japan. Motorcyclist dies after being swallowed by sinkhole in South Korea. World Athletics Council bans transgender athletes from events. Boston Dynamics robot performs breakdancing moves.
Hello everyone, I'm Oceana. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It is Thursday, March 27th, World Theater Day, and here are your top stories. And for today's Taiwan news, Taipei First Girls High School teacher Chu Guizhi faces backlash after questioning President Lai's stance on China in a CCTV interview. She is accused of promoting pro-China views in class. The Education Bureau demands a response by March 26th. Taiwanese entertainer黄子佼was sentenced to 8 months for possessing illegal videos. Prosecutors appealed for a harsher sentence. His court apology was seen as a comeback attempt, but many refused to forgive him as verdict details spread online. Taipei City Councilor Miao Boya live-streamed a reading of the verdict, stating that anyone with basic moral sense would agree that a perpetrator of such crimes should not continue to hold a role of an idol or opinion leader in society. In a recent podcast, influencer Zhou Mingxuan shared how he introduced himself as Chinese culture during his time in the US due to a lack of awareness about Taiwan. YouTuber Ati also noted that 80% of people recognized Taiwan when he introduced himself as Taiwanese. And in global news, Russia and Ukraine have agreed to a naval ceasefire in the Black Sea in separate deals with the US after 3 days of peace talks in Saudi Arabia. Washington said all parties would continue working toward a durable and lasting peace in statements announcing the agreements, which would reopen an important trade route. The White House also stated that both sides have committed to develop measures to implement a previously agreed-upon ban on attacking each other's energy infrastructure.
But Russia said the naval ceasefire would only come into force after a number of sanctions against its food and fertilizer trade were lifted. U.S. officials have been separately meeting negotiators from Moscow and Kyiv in Riyadh with the aim of brokering a truce between the two sides. The Russian and Ukrainian delegations have not met directly. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the deal to halt strikes in the Black Sea was a step in the right direction. However, shortly after Washington's announcement, the Kremlin stated that the Black Sea ceasefire would not take effect until sanctions were lifted from Russian banks, producers, and exporters involved in the international food and fertilizer trades.
A court ordered the dissolution of the Unification Church in Japan, upholding a government request for revocation spurred by the investigation into the 2022 assassination of former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. The Tokyo District Court's revocation of the church's legal status means it will lose its tax-exempt privileges and must liquidate its assets. However, the church can still appeal the decision to higher courts. The Japanese branch of the church had criticized the request as a serious threat to religious freedom and human rights of its followers.
The order follows a request by Japan's Education Ministry in 2023 to dissolve the influential South Korea-based sect, citing manipulative fundraising and recruitment tactics that sowed fear among followers and harmed their families. The investigation into the assassination revealed decades of close ties between the South Korea-based church and Japan's governing Liberal Democratic Party. The church obtained legal status as a religious organization in Japan in 1968 amid an anti-communist movement supported by Abe's grandfather, former Prime Minister Nobusuke Kishi. The man accused of killing Abe resented the church and blamed it for his family's financial troubles.
On Tuesday, a motorcyclist died after falling into a sinkhole in the South Korean capital, making the latest such fatal incident. The man in his 30s, who's not yet publicly identified, was found in cardiac arrest around noon local time on Tuesday, a day after a sinkhole approximately 65 feet wide and 65 feet deep suddenly opened as he was driving down a street in Seoul. The massive sinkhole appeared around 6:30 p.m. on Monday near an intersection in the Gangdong district of the city.
We have been manually removing soil to search for the missing person underground. However, due to cracks forming on the upper part of the sinkhole, further entry was deemed too dangerous.
A dashcam video showed the motorcyclist plunging into the sinkhole while a car in front of him jolted violently as its rear wheels narrowly avoided the chasm. His body was discovered about 160 feet below the center of the sinkhole after an overnight search involving approximately 40 rescue personnel. A fire station official told reporters that the 17-hour search operation was challenging due to water and soil mixing at the scene, as well as entangled heavy machinery from a nearby construction site. The cause of the sinkhole remains unknown. Seoul officials stated that they plan to conduct a detailed and comprehensive investigation.
World Athletics President Sebastian Coe said Tuesday that track and field's governing body has approved the introduction of cheek swabs and dry blood spot tests for female athletes to maintain the integrity of competition. The plan changes include reinstating a version of chromosome testing that was discontinued in the 1990s. Athletes competing in the female category will be required to take a test to detect the presence of a gene indicating whether they have a Y chromosome, which is present in males.
It's important to do it because it maintains everything that we've been talking about, and particularly recently, about not just talking about the integrity of female women's sport, but actually guaranteeing it. And this, we feel, is a really important way of providing confidence and maintaining that absolute focus on the integrity of competition.
Athletes will have to take the test just once during their careers. Coe said that the new regulations will be drafted, and a testing provider will be confirmed in the coming weeks. World Athletics, which banned transgender athletes in 2023, announced in February proposed recommendations that would impose strict transgender rules on athletes who were born female but have naturally occurring testosterone levels in the typical male range. Those recommendations came only days after U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order barring transgender athletes from competing in girls' sports in the U.S. and pressuring the Olympics to do the same.
Robotics company Boston Dynamics has shared a new video of its latest generation humanoid robot, Atlas, performing forward rolls, cartwheels, and army crawls. The lanky robot executes a flashy breakdancing move known as the coffee grinder, effortlessly spinning one of its legs below its torso like a skilled street performer. It's an impressive display, showcasing Atlas's remarkable agility and highlighting the advancements in humanoid robotics. Boston Dynamics, in collaboration with the Robotics and AI Institute, aims to solve robotics problems through machine learning.
But Boston Dynamics isn't operating in a vacuum anymore, as the competition is really starting to heat up when it comes to light-footed bipedal robots. Chinese robotics company Unitree recently showed off its G1 robot pulling some gnarly kung fu moves in a video last month. Earlier this week, Unitree followed up with a video of G1 performing a standing side flip. However, whether Atlas will ever make it into mass production remains to be seen. As the Boston Globe reported in December, the company laid off 5% of its human workforce, with CEO Robert Player admitting that the company is burning through cash at a rate that exceeds our commercial progress to date.
The answer for yesterday was B, protracted. The negotiations were protracted for months before an agreement was reached. Did you answer correctly? Now let's delve into today's news. Russia and Ukraine agree naval ceasefire in Black Sea. Number 1. Ceasefire. 停火协议. The two sides agreed to a ceasefire after weeks of intense fighting. Number 2. Sanction. 制裁. The United Nations imposed sanctions on the country for its actions against human rights. Number 3. Separately. 分开地. The two companies decided to handle the issue separately to avoid conflicts. Next, we have a multiple choice question for everyone to practice. Which answer would you choose? You can write your answer in the comment section and the correct answer will be announced tomorrow. World Theater Day was initiated in 1962 by the International Theater Institute as a day to pay respect to and celebrate the beauty, creativity, hard work, and artistry that go into all aspects of theater production. It was meant to remind people of the great power that theater can bring about, whether it is celebrated locally or globally. And that's all for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune into Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm your host, Oceana. I'll see you next time.